talking about.
There we go.
Mary's all ready. Thank you. Mary, we're at your house. Oh, we don't have it live. We don't have sound.
You got to turn it on. Turn it on, and the blue button will come on.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mr. County Executive, are you? You're all settled? Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm going to be very brief. This is actually the County Executive's listening session. But I'm Mary Lehman. I am the County Council representative for beautiful Council District 1. And thank you for being here tonight on this cold evening. We're here to listen to your thoughts about what's important to you in the county budget. These are, again, tough times. We've got a mid-year deficit right now we're dealing with, and we'll have another one, a bigger one in 2016, but we're anxious to hear your thoughts and your ideas about what's important to you in terms of county programs and services. So thanks again for being here. Really quickly, I think there are some members of the Laurel City Council. I wanted to acknowledge Mayor Craig Moe. Mayor Moe, are you back there somewhere? Thank you for having us here in the city. The principal of Laurel High School, where are you, Mr. Jones? Are you here somewhere? There he is. Thank you. Thanks for the great job you do here. And who else? Donna Crary, I believe, from the City Council. Donna, are you still here? Donna, thank you. It's hard to see with the lights in my eyes here. But anyway, I recognize a lot of constituents, neighbors, civic association leaders. Thanks again for coming out this evening.
Thank you, Mary. This on? Come on, can you hear me? Mary, you did a great job. Where is she? She's hiding now. There she is. Can we give Mary another round of applause? She does a great job. You're so fortunate to have her. Oh, no, that's fine. I know we're running late, so thank you for being patient. I think Mary described it very well. This is your chance, and let me just say this in the very beginning. We always love coming up here. The turnout is always great, even during the snow. I think last year we were up here. It was snow coming down and it was a blizzard, but people still came out, and we really appreciated that. As Mary said, we're facing a budget deficit again this year. We're actually in FY15, a budget deficit of about $40 million that we have to close. And then in FY16, right now we're projected a budget deficit about $15 million. So there are some really hard choices we're going to have to make as a county. And in order to do that, your input is critical. And so this is a chance for you to speak to us. This is the longest I will speak. It is a chance for us to, not only have you tell us what's important, but if you have some great ideas that we haven't thought of, we certainly would like to hear that. If you have any extra money, I'd like that too. No, but any great ideas, and we would appreciate it. So we're going to do some introductions real quick. So if I can, in advance, if I could have my directors and deputy directors who happen to be here, if you can start lining up so quickly you can say who you are, so that way if a problem arises I can just point you out. Brian Moe, you know something about Laurel, so you start the list coming down here. Chop chop. Let's be very quick. Adam, you can go first. You beat Moe.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Adam Ortiz. I'm the director of your Department of the Environment.
Good evening. My name is Brian Moe. I'm the Director of Homeland Security.
Good evening. I'm Teresa Grant, the Acting Director for the Department of Family Services.
Hello, I'm Dave Iannucci, Assistant Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Economic Development.
Good evening. I'm Susan Hubbard, representing the Department of Permitting, Inspections, and Enforcement.
Good evening. I'm Mary Lou McDonough. I'm the Director of the Department of Corrections.
Good evening. Thomas Himmler, Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for County Executive Baker.
Good evening. I'm Barry Stanton, Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Public Safety for Prince George's County.
Jim McClellan, Deputy Fire Chief, representing Chief Bashore. Corey Smedley, Deputy Fire Chief, Prince George's County Fire EMS.
Good evening. Save the best for last. I'm Nick Majette, Chief Administrative Officer.
You're almost last, Nicholas, but
Hi, Kay Boguster Brown, representing Gloria Brown for Department of Social Services.
terrific. Did we miss anyone? If not, I'll have my cohorts up here introduce themselves. Tell them who you are.
Brent Johnson with the Office of Management and Budget.
Really important person.
Janice Marcellus, Office of Management and Budget.
Now, Janice will be, we'll give you, Jason Williams, you want to tell us who you are?
Jason Williams, Vice President, Economic Development Corporation.
Thank you. We got everybody covered. Now, Janice.
Before I call the first speaker, I'd like to go over the rules for tonight's proceedings. First, I'd like to ask everybody to put their cell phones on vibrate.
Like the airport, we showed demonstration.
In order to provide everyone the opportunity to present testimony this evening, a time limit of 3 minutes will be imposed. I will have a timer set for the 3-minute period. When there is 30 seconds left, I will hold up a sign reflecting 30 seconds. Once the time has expired, an alarm will go off. Please be considerate of others and wrap up your comments at that time. Thank you, and our first speaker is Amy Progoski.
Come on up, Amy.
Hi, Mr. Baker. It's nice to see you again. My name is Amy Progoski. I've been a county resident for almost 15 years and a volunteer at the County Animal Shelter for almost a decade. I'm here with some of my other very dedicated volunteers at the shelter, and just want to let you know that in fiscal year 2014, we have logged over 9,100 hours at the shelter, so we are putting our money, time, heart, and soul where our mouths are, and I appreciate you listening to my points tonight. My first point, and I've mentioned this to you before on a couple occasions, we need benefits for the county employees, not the county employees, I'm sorry, the contract staff employees. It's a thankless and often heart-wrenching job. Working under the personal services contract for almost 6 years doesn't foster a sense of stability or security. There's a really high staff turnover. In October, when I spoke to you, I listed all the employees that had left. Since then, just 4 short months ago, you've also lost another rescue coordinator, a vet tech, and a fantastic adoption counselor, just to name a few. You're losing employees at a fast rate. And once you use our tax dollars to make the investment in hiring and training new staff, which takes months, it's your responsibility to keep them and not lose that investment. The county found $200,000 to spend on a feasibility study for putting a shelter in the northern part of the county. I think we should maybe first focus on fixing the problems we have at our existing shelter and not really spread our resources too thin. And while I think it would be certainly convenient for residents up in this area, I have to question the cost benefit. And why is making 2 or 3 trips to the shelter to adopt a pet, or 1 trip to just redeem your lost pet, such a burden? We have adopters from all over, DC, Virginia, and other neighboring counties. My second point I'd like to talk about tonight is I hear time and time again that the county doesn't want anything to prevent adoptions and that the county wants these animals out of here. To me, that implies that the county wants to adopt anyone who wants one, regardless of their ability to care for a pet. Mr. Baker, adopting a pet is a privilege. It's not a right. I'm asking you to please stop lowering the bar and allow staff to confirm that the pet is going to a loving home that will care for it forever. Placing animals in substandard homes puts the animals at risk, and oftentimes these poor placements just mean the animal comes back to us anyway, so the revolving door is not really helping anything. I ask that you please respect the staff and the volunteers who care for these precious and helpless animals, but don't adopt them out to just anyone. I believe we should trust but verify. I know not everyone is out to hurt animals, but I also know everyone is not capable of caring for them properly. Our goal should be to find caring forever homes for all our animals. My third and final point is regarding the pit bulls in the county. There are still pit bulls throughout the county. Last night, there were 137 dogs at the shelter. 36 of them were pit bulls. That's over 26% of the canine population in our shelter. Compare that to some of the other dogs we had. We had 3 beagles, 4 boxers, 3 cocker spaniels, etc. The pit bulls take up the most space. So the ban's not working. You're not reducing their quantities in the county. You're just allowing them to take up precious kennel space. People say don't put them down, send them to rescue, but rescues get full and overburdened also. The county has developed pilot programs for other aspects of the shelter, so why not try a pilot program to adopt out well-tempered pit bulls to out-of-county adopters who meet strict criteria? We're the only county in the state to ban the breed. I thank you for your time and not forgetting about the animals.
Thank you. Amy, if you can have, you said you had some of your colleagues with you.
Yes.
Those who are not speaking, if you could stand up so we can just see who you are. All right. Thank you. Thank you for coming out. And know that Adam Ortiz has brought this issue up in budgeting, and we actually put it on our list of the staffing issue. So number one on your list, we have on our budget discussion. And thank you for bringing that issue up before, and that's why we talked about it in budget, and then we'll look at the other two issues. Thank you.
Antonio Hines. Antonio Hines. Kim Rush Lynch.
Good evening, Executive Baker. Down a little bit. How's that?
Very good.
Okay. I'm Kim Rush Lynch, a Prince George's County resident and an employee of the University of Maryland Extension. I serve as the Ag Marketing Consultant for Prince George's County and am a member of the Prince George's County Food Equity Council. As you know, University of Maryland Extension supports food insecure county residents through a variety of nutrition education programs, including SNAP Ed. I'm here tonight to respectfully request the reinstatement of funding promised for the SNAP to Health program in fiscal year 2016, which was originally funded through CB 37 2014, championed by Councilwoman Lehman. SNAP to Health can make high-quality, locally grown produce affordable and accessible to our county residents. This program provides funds for farmers markets to purchase SNAP EBT equipment. It pays for the staff time to coordinate the acceptance of federal nutrition and food assistance benefits, and provides outreach to low-income residents to raise awareness of farmers markets and their health benefits. Through my position at Extension, I work directly with both farms and farmers markets in the county. Only a half a dozen of the 21 markets in the county offer a centralized SNAP program for low-income residents. Many of our markets are run by volunteer organizations that simply don't have the time or resources to implement the program, which requires both equipment and additional staff hours to manage both the equipment on market days and the additional reporting requirements. This bill would give markets the incentive and resources to offer not only SNAP but also Maryland market money, which doubles the value of the SNAP dollars spent at the farmers market. According to the Boston Collaborative for Food and Fitness, studies have shown SNAP clients who shop at farmers markets consume vegetables with more frequency than those who do not shop at farmers markets. In addition, farmers markets participating in the double value coupon program funded by Wholesome Wave reported that they diversified their product offerings, added hoop houses or greenhouses, and increased production or acreage farmland. Funding this bill would not only address Prince George's County's high food insecurity rates, but create economic opportunities for our farmers as well. Again, I strongly encourage you to reinstate funding for CB 37 2014, which has the potential to provide meaningful health outcomes and positive results for our residents. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. That's a good segue. I think Betty Francis, our Deputy CAO for Health and Human Services, is here. Betty, stand up so people will know who you are. There you go. Thank you very much.
Mary Denise Smith.
Good evening, Executive Baker and everyone in the room. Thank you. My name is Mary Denise Smith. I am a Prince George's County resident. I am retired, living on Social Security, and I volunteer at my local farmers market. I am here tonight to respectfully request the reinstatement of the promised funding to the SNAP to Health program in fiscal year 2016, which was originally funded through CB 37 2014, championed by Councilwoman Lehman. Like the majority of farmers markets in Prince George's County, mine does not participate in the SNAP and Maryland market money programs. I sit by and watch our market's cash customers carry home fresh, locally grown fruits and vegetables, and then I go to a vast, impersonal supermarket to purchase produce grown and harvested days or weeks ago far from Prince George's County, occasionally in other hemispheres. Funding this bill will deliver critical program and services, create economic opportunities for our local farmers, and circulate money locally, further stimulating the local economy. It additionally will benefit all Prince George's County citizens with that circulation of locally grown food and monies. I strongly encourage you to reinstate funding for CB 37 2014. Thank you for your time.
Nancy Solomon.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Solomon, and I've been a Prince George's County resident for more than 2 decades. For the past 6 years, I have worked as the part-time manager for my neighborhood's nonprofit farmers market. I've come here tonight to request that funding for the SNAP to Health program, which was originally adopted by Council Bill 37, 2014, be reinstated in the county budget for fiscal year 2016. As you know, SNAP to Health was designed to provide funds for farmers markets to purchase equipment and pay for staff time to coordinate the acceptance of food nutrition and food assistance benefits, in addition to providing outreach to low-income residents to raise awareness of farmers markets. Such funding is critical because volunteer-driven farmers markets like mine do not have sufficient resources to create and administer a centralized SNAP system on their own. I am sorry to say that more than once I've had to turn away potential customers who have called my market to inquire as to whether we accept SNAP. And I have personally known members of my own community who would have preferred to spend their SNAP funds at our farmers market, but couldn't because we are not set up to take it. By not being able to accept SNAP, our vendors are losing out on potential sales. But sales are not the only thing that may be getting lost. The farmers market in my community has become a vibrant social and educational hub where neighbors reconnect with old friends, meet new ones, and have the opportunity to learn about community events and issues. I worry that because we do not take SNAP, many of our low-income residents may be missing out on this community-building process to the detriment of all. Although my neighborhood is fortunate to have a grocery store with fresh fruits and vegetables near at hand, many in Prince George's County are not so lucky. Farmers markets often bring fresh produce into communities that otherwise have little access to healthy, unprocessed foods. It's only fair that low-income residents in these areas be given the ability to purchase such foods near their homes by enabling local farmers markets to accept SNAP. For the health and welfare of your citizens and communities, I hope that you will reinstate funding for SNAP to Health in the next fiscal year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa Smith.
Good evening. Mr. Baker, my name is Lisa Smith. I am the Executive Director of the Bowie Business Innovation Center, located at Bowie State University. First, I want to say that we're very grateful to have received county funding over the last 4 years for the Bowie BIC. We're the newest and fastest growing business incubation program in the county, and county support has been absolutely critical to the establishment of our business incubation program and our initial economic development momentum. We also are a little bit unique because we're the only business incubation program at a Maryland incubator that is also located on the campus of a historically Black academic institution. A few quick highlights from 2014. Our 16 client companies have generated 61 jobs in the past year and estimated $2.9 million in new business revenues in the county. And through our counseling partnerships with organizations such as the Small Business Development Centers, the Procurement Technical Assistance Program, and the Maryland Women's Business Center, as well as the corporate community, we've been able to provide counseling and technical business assistance for more than 600 county businesses at the Bowie BIC. And the Maryland Women's Business Center alone has provided counseling and training for nearly 500 county businesses in 2014. I've attached a summary with additional highlights to the letter that I'll be giving to Janice. And second, I want to say that we're requesting that the county continues its support of Bowie BIC and maintain Bowie BIC as a $75,000 line item in the county's FY16 budget. This county funding will be leveraged with support from our other public sector partners, such as the City of Bowie, the Maryland Technology Development Corporation, and a growing number of corporate sponsors, as well as the incubator clients who pay fees to be part of our program and help us accelerate the growth and economic impact of the county's small businesses. Bowie BIC was consciously established as an incubation program at Bowie State University, and continued county support will allow us to remain an integral part of the university's growing student entrepreneurship activities. A letter of support from Bowie State University is also attached to my letter. In short, with continued county support in the FY 2016 budget, we can continue to increase our direct impact on the county's economy through the business development of the young companies that use our services, Bowie State alums, our client companies, and the growing group of innovative companies in the county. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Dario Mulrees. Sorry for messing your name up.
No, that's okay. Believe me, I don't try anymore. So I think I'm the last SNAP Health supporter here. My name is Dario Muralles. I work for the Capital Area Food Bank. I'm also on the PG Food Equity Council, and I'm a proud resident of Bladensburg, Maryland. Want to leave you with a final thought about SNAP to Health. Last year, the food bank distributed about 8.9 million pounds in Prince George's County, and about half of that was fresh produce. This last quarter that just passed, we distributed about 4 million pounds of produce into the county. That's up by 1 million pounds compared to the same time last year. So in closing, I just want to say, and sorry about the pun, but county residents are hungry for produce, and this bill would provide more outlets where they're desperately needed. Thanks.
Thank you.
Leah Paley.
Good evening. I'm Leah Paley. I'm the Deputy Director at Laurel Advocacy and Referral Services. For almost 30 years, our organization has provided assistance to Greater Laurel residents who are homeless and low income. I'm here tonight to show support for the Laurel Winter Shelter and encourage you to allocate $50,000 in the fiscal year 2016 budget for general operating expenses for the shelter. For over 2 decades, more than 20 congregations, and I have some representatives with me this evening who are from congregations that operate the shelter, have provided shelter space, volunteers, food, transportation, and supplies for the shelter. This rotating shelter is in operation for 15 weeks from the end of November through the middle of March and serves about 100 men and women who are homeless in the course of the shelter season. Currently, the Department of Social Services works with Community Crisis Service, Inc. to operate the Warm Nights Shelter program. However, there's limited space in that program, and there are no shelter sites within walking distance of Laurel. Therefore, the Laurel Winter Shelter has served as a vital resource in preventing hypothermia-related deaths among homeless men and women in the Greater Laurel area. For years, the shelter has hosted by a revolving set of faith-based sites and staffed by volunteers from those congregations. Our organization, LARS, assists with the intake and outreach efforts, but does not have the resources to provide necessary programmatic oversight. Thus, at times, coverage and services have been episodic and gaps arise that are difficult to fill. During our current shelter season, Volunteers have scrambled to find a location to host shelter guests for the first 2 weeks of March. We have identified a space, but the location can only accommodate 20 individuals, and on average we have about 30 to 35 men per week. So that means we're going to have to turn away about 10 to 15 men for the first 2 weeks of March, which is still fairly cold in this region. In order to ensure the continued success of the shelter, funding from the county is necessary so that a centralized entity can be contracted to provide programmatic oversight. We estimate the cost of the professional services to be around $50,000, and I have attached a budget to the testimony that I submitted. With properly trained staff providing oversight of the shelter, we're confident that the shelter can meet the basic needs of our community's homeless men and women. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak.
And I'd like to recognize former council member Tom Denoga. Thank you for being here.
Nancy Tolbert.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Tolbert, and I'm the Executive Director of CalMER Incorporated. CalMER is a nonprofit, government-funded agency providing needed services to citizens of Prince George's County. We are a member of the Prince George's Providers Council. A member of that organization spoke to you at the last listening session, which the council represents a group of 21 agencies, all providing services and resources in Prince George's County. Providers like mine are still struggling to meet the legislated minimum wage increase that the county implemented last year. The governor, as you may know, also cut our expected January 1 increase from 4% to 2%. We were counting on these monies to help meet the gap. At this time, we struggle to pay our wonderful direct care staff a meaningful living wage while simultaneously trying to keep our agency from major financial hardship. CalMER currently is predicting a deficit for the first time in 22 years. Please understand that our staff are not minimum wage employees. They require extensive training, and they're responsible for the health and welfare of very vulnerable citizens in this county. We can't make up the wages. When McDonald's gives a raise, they pass it on to you by increasing the cost of the pickles in your Big Mac. We can't do that. Our fees are set by the state. On the other hand, we can't cut services. Our services are mandated. So we have nowhere to go. So we're here saying we need help. We've been providing services to over 2,500 of the most vulnerable citizens this county has. And it's time that we ask you to help us with this. Thank you.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I had a quick question. Nancy, if you can go back to the mic just real quick, please.
Absolutely.
So you were asking, this is about the gap between a minimum wage that's required and what you have in funding. That's what you're asking us to make up the difference.
We are. It comes to about, we said our slogan is just a buck. So it's about $1 for it's about 2.9 million, which is $1 for each of the hours that we have on the books for our collective agencies.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Celeste Hill.
Good evening, Mr. Baker. My name is Celeste Hill, and I am the founder of Lovely Ladies of Laurel. And I am also a special educator for Prince George County Public School. My school of choice is Dwight D. Eisenhower Middle School. First, I would like to thank you for all your support that you have given Lovely Ladies of Laurel. We greatly appreciate it. We just want to say thank you, and hopefully you'll continue to support us. As far as Dwight D. Eisenhower Middle School, I'm a little concerned. We have had a couple issues, but we're moving forward and we're doing well. But we are in desperate need of a lot of resources. So I'm hoping that you would consider in the budget encouraging you to please support different activities that we would like to have, after-school activities. Activity buses is another issue that we have. The students cannot stay back because they don't have transportation to get home. And we are in desperate need of some type of academic support after school as well. So once again, I would like to thank you and ask you please consider it.
Michael Ahern.
Thank you for holding your applause. I'm the board treasurer for Ardmore Enterprises and the Arc of Prince George's County. Those are two developmentally disabled agencies. And I've actually been doing commercial banking in the county for about 25 years. And so I've worked with several of the other agencies that I'm not on the board of. But, the first thing I'd like to say is, I can appreciate what the county's trying to do in raising the minimum wage. We work incredibly hard to support the development of disabled, and to have these guys, doing this work and basically still being in poverty is incredible. But, many of the agencies right now are at break even, and you heard Nancy say her agency's looking at a loss for the first time in its history. Some agencies are already losing money. But many of these agencies, in order to compensate for this, have not given raises. They're not matching their 403B contributions. So their employees are already, stressed as it is. But again, as she said, the agencies are limited by the state with what they can charge. So they can't pass on this minimum wage that's going up. But, frankly, these agencies are already stressed. They're going to fold, some of them. And, the challenge is that, historically when a DD agency has failed, other agencies step up because they've got the resources and they can jump in and take over the residential programs and the day programs that these agencies need. But if you basically stress every agency by raising the minimum wage above what the state is going to fund them, they're not going to have the resources to step in. And, I think, frankly, the county would be much better off budgeting the money now rather than when an agency closes, and trying to find housing for hundreds of developmentally disabled adults, as well as trying to find employment for the, 70% of the employees that work at these agencies live in Prince George's County. So watching them get unemployed, watching these developmentally disabled adults suddenly have to hit the streets. A lot of them, you wouldn't think it, but a lot of them have outlived their parents. There's nowhere for them to go if they're released. So, and I'm just picturing the Washington Post calling you and saying, hey, we've got homeless, developmentally disabled adults here. What are you prepared to do? And I think the cost after the fact is going to be far more than budgeting now to take care of these individuals. As a banker, from a financial standpoint, I can tell you that if we're looking at somebody's books, and most of these agencies live off their line of credit, and we know that they're in a, pending failure, we're going to cut their line, and they're going to close even faster. So, I would basically, encourage you to visit these agencies and see the work that they do for very low pay. But the one remedy I would not recommend is making an exception for these agencies, because then their below minimum wage employees would be competing with other agencies that are paying more in Montgomery and DC. So thank you for your consideration. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Virginia Jones.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to come and share with you what is in my heart tonight. My name is Virginia Jones. My husband and I are 35-plus year residents of Prince George's County. We both have dual degrees from the University of Maryland and Bowie State, and I am a retired Prince George's County Public Schools teacher, where I enjoyed wonderful benefits that give me a good life right now. I am inviting you to come by and visit our Animal Services facility on Brown Station Road and see all your fellow county employees at work there caring for homeless and mistreated and abused animals, as well as assisting the citizens of the county with animal issues, including wildlife. Unfortunately, 49 of those employees earn only slightly over poverty level salary with no benefits whatsoever. For instance, they find it necessary to come to work on every single holiday just in order to take home a complete paycheck each week. Furthermore, these same employees are the ones that have direct contact with our public, thousands of people visiting this shelter each year. Therefore, it's imperative that they are intelligent, that they're committed, and that they're responsive individuals. Many of them work not only directly with the animals all day, but they're the first direct interaction with citizens who come in to adopt pets. They play a critical role in the public relations and the marketing for this county and for this shelter. I'm asking that we budget to offer these employees just basic benefits, including at the very least health insurance. We need to be able to attract and retain the best and the brightest individuals possible. And as things stand now, we're just the training ground, and too many staff quickly leave for greener pastures. Constant turnover makes for inefficiency and poorer quality of service, which is a waste of time and money. I'm well aware of the budget shortfall that we're struggling with, but I believe that we have one of the best animal services facilities in the area, and that our dedicated employees deserve at least minimal basic benefits. So I thank you for your thoughtful consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. And I'll take you up on your offer. I will go by there and visit the shelter. I will do that.
Keith Battle.
Good evening, Mr. Baker. What are you going to ask me? Wait, don't start my clock, though. He's asking me a question. That's my time. Huh?
You come to give a prayer, or you decided to speak?
I'll do whatever you say, sir. I'm praying for money. That's what I'm going to pray for.
Make it a good one.
Sir, I've been told that it costs $40,000 to $60,000 a year per incarceration in our correctional facility. And let me start by saying, obviously on the corrections side, Ms. Mary Lou McDonough's team is doing an excellent job. They got a 100% compliance score from the State Commission, so we're doing a great job on the correction side. But in order to decrease recidivism, we've got to do a better job on post-release support, preparation. What if we turn these consumers into contributors? Instead of paying $40,000 to $60,000 for somebody to go back to prison because they were underprepared or under-resourced to become a successful part of society, these became tax-paying contributors to the community. My request is that you would partner with us, or as we work with Michael Butler and the Youth and Program Services Division, to help provide resources to get people back on their feet, returning citizens who need simple things like birth certificates, IDs, social security numbers, and these things become overwhelming. There's a 91-page survival document that people get. 91 pages. Our team is Zion Reach Incorporated, which I pastor Zion Church in Landover, Maryland. We have a CDC called Zion Reach. Somebody on our team has already reduced that 91-page document to 3 pages. So that returning citizens aren't overwhelmed by the steps it takes to get back in. And so we're asking for about $270,000, which is equivalent to 5 inmates annual stay, so that we can turn inmates who become returning citizens into people who will never become inmates again, and who can become productive citizens, contributors instead of consumers. That we can provide staffing for them, transportation for them to get the documents they need, job training and other special services. And they'd have a pastor and a church behind them that has a grace on us to work with that generation. As you know, our church is set up to work with Ray, Creature Baby Father and them. So this is what we do. And I'm just asking you to help us to make our county safer and to put some of that $40,000 to $60,000 back into education and into some economic development programs that you have in mind. That's what I would like you to consider for the 2016 fiscal year budget.
Thank you, Pastor Battle. We will do that. I don't see Barry Stanton here, but I know that's one of the issues that we've been with Barry. Oh, there's Barry
You didn't
Stanton.
give me the 30-second thing yet, so I got 30 seconds. Winfred Jones is a member of my congregation and also a classic example. I've watched him in the last 5 years since he's been a returning citizen struggle to get back on his feet because of all of the challenges and obstacles. You know, many of the services are for Prince George's County residents, but if you burn bridges, you may not even be able to live in the county where the services are supposed to be provided. There are no halfway houses, not one in the county, and I know that's, you know, that probably won't change. But Zion Church wants to be a hub facility that supports the work, and I'd also suggest that with only 8 full-time employees in Mr. Michael Butler's division, servicing sometimes 4,000 returning citizens to the state of Maryland, I think they need to be better staffed to support that need as well. I still got more time? Oh, okay.
No. Thank you very much. I think Barry Stanton heard you loud and clear.
Toya Powell.
Good evening to the executive staff and to everyone here, and special thanks to my pastor, Pastor Battle, for those remarks. I definitely echo his concerns with respect to returning citizens in the county, and it's a great segue to my other comments with respect to small businesses. So last week during the forum, I mentioned the Purple Line and the incubators and accelerators in the county, and I believe that with the presence expanding and relocating more small businesses to the county would definitely help with creating jobs and providing education for some of the returning citizens. Right now, my understanding is that 39.3% of the revenues in the county come from outside aid for the Board of Education, 25.7% or $693 million are from property taxes, and we know that property values have been declining in Prince George's County. 19.6% or $530 million come from income taxes, 10.8% from local taxes and other receipts, 3.1% from outside aid, and 1.5% from intergovernmental revenue. So there's a huge gap in terms of being able to generate more revenue from local small businesses, and I would like for us, including Zion Church and other small businesses and strategic partners in this auditorium and in the county, to consider working more closely with the Office of Central Services or the Supplier and Diversity Division for the purpose of being able to attract more small businesses and generate more revenue in the county. Thank you.
Daisy Capers.
Good evening, County Exec and staff. My name is Daisy Capers. I'm a long-time resident of Prince George's County, but 20 of my last years have been spent in a historic town called Fairmont Heights. Tonight, I'm here. First, I want to say thank you, too, for the opportunity. I would never be able to say all of this without this opportunity, so thanks. I'm here as the President and CEO of the Fairmont Heights CDC. As you know, the town of Fairmont Heights, Maryland, is on the National Historic Registry and is also a gateway into Prince George's County, a county that has a slogan called Gorgeous Prince George's. However, our gateways into Prince George's County, Eastern Avenue and Sheriff Road, are plagued with prostitution, drugs, and other forms of blight. Our town has an estimated 500 houses, and 20% of them are either abandoned, uncared for, or vacant lots. The Fairmont Heights CDC was born out of desperation to make a change in our town. The one thing we are asking for with our mission is to facilitate the purchase and rehabilitation of a much-needed home for a first-time home buyer, a veteran, or others who are in need of a place to call home. But we have to first clean up our borders and make them gorgeous like the other marketable places when you visit the county. We need your help in the effort and hope that you will consider some funding for our town so that when visitors come to see our history, they will leave with a feeling of awe. And I had a note here that I'm hoping you might take in consideration. I'm reminded of a city called Washington, D.C., who had a plight such as ours. In their plight, they did a lottery. Houses were purchased through that lottery. People were given up fixing expenses and able to become a buyer for the first time. Thanks again for listening.
Timothy Schaffel.
This is not in my notes, but I'd like to add some weight to the comments that were made before. I fully support the employment status of the people who work at the facility. Christina Musi was very good. We worked with her as a rescue coordinator. And her replacement, Amanda, has already left, and she was only there a couple of months. Joanna Fortin was an excellent adoption counselor, but I'm sure that they have to survive. Now, if I could just get back to my stuff, thank you for providing me with the opportunity to speak about an issue of life and death. In 2009, only about 11% of the animals impounded at the county's animal services facilities were returned to their owners. Only about 10% of the animals impounded were adopted into homes. About 6,000 animals on average have been needlessly killed every year. In 2010, I'm sure you remember, you participated in our county executive candidate forum, and you rightly observed, we're killing too many animals, and you made several promises to correct the problem. During your first 4 years as county executive, 25,000 animals were killed at the county's $15 million facility, which was brand new in 2009. During that same period, there was a demand for 112,000 pets, more than 28,000 each year, simply to replace those that died of old age. In spite of the huge demand for pets by county residents, Animal Management Division fulfilled only about 3 to 4% of the demand. The unacceptable performance of Animal Management Division has been well documented. In fact, your county stat team determined that AMD was the worst performance in every category of 4 local jurisdictions over a 3-year period. After your first 4 years, in 2013, the percentage of animals returned to their owners has dropped even lower to 10%. The percentage of animals that are adopted into homes has also dropped. In 2010, if we could go back to your interview, you observed that placing pets in households in the county adds values to those households. Sadly, the most significant change in the outcomes of AMD during your first term was the number of pets that are being exported from the county. In 2009, 20% of them were being exported, but in 2013, the percent had risen to 28%. These transfers deprive our county households of the added value that our pets can provide. You also observed that, first of all, you would need to get the right people working at the shelter. After your first 4 years, AMD is still being led by the same incompetent management which has been causing us to kill too many animals. In fact, over the past 14 years, AMD has needlessly killed well over 100,000 animals while failing to meet the demand for pets by Prince George's County residents. Almost done. All of the metrics which indicate the performance of AMD have declined during your first term. The reason is not one of budgetary allocation. There are other jurisdictions who are saving 90% and more of all animals with a much lower per capita budget and under far more difficult conditions. The reason for this poor performance, first and foremost, is because you failed to get the right people working at the shelter. That is a promise you'll have to keep before you can expect to keep your other promises about saving lives. Thank you for listening, and I'd like to speak to you some more about this.
Thank you. Adam Ortiz, you heard that? Thank you.
Barbara Solner Webb.
Hi, I'm Barbara Solner Webb, President of West Laurel Civic Association. I'm Barbara Solner Webb, President of West Laurel Civic Association, and I've been a resident of Prince George's County for 40 years. And I'd just like to introduce some of the members of our Civic Association here, as well as Mary Lehman, who's also, and people walking up who are agreeing with what I'm saying. We all realize that the budget is stretched very thin, but are still imploring you to consider the importance of keeping up our aging roadways, many of which are falling into bad disrepair. The county allocates only around $10 million for road repairs each year, the same as under Wayne Curry 15 years ago. So little that it enables merely about half a mile per councilman district to be resurfaced. So this, I just calculated out, comes to resurfacing each roadway in the county once every 500 to 1,000 years, which they don't last that long, meaning that they become more third world-ish each year as they fall more into disrepair. And this is, of course, especially true because you get in the cracks, the potholes, the missing chunks, water gets down into it, ice forms, it then raises up and cracks more of the road. The next year you get more water down, more blah, 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 blah. And so this is just a continuing, very bad situation that gets worse each year, makes people want to move out of the county, leave the county. It's hazardous. And we, being West Laurel Civic Association, are obviously egocentrically most concerned about West Laurel. And so I've handed you a bunch of pictures. The first page is a map showing where all the sites are located. And then the first page shows our main entrance to West Laurel Bond Mill Road, which is basically a series of potholes, cracks, and repairs and cracks next to the repairs. More examples of potholes, cracks, and repairs on Bond Mill. More examples of potholes, cracks, and repairs on Bond Mill. Our other main entrance is Schweitzer Lane. Again, a whole series of potholes, cracks, and repairs. And then we go on for pages after pages of potholes, cracks, and repairs and things that need attention that are just getting worse and worse each year. And finally, in the last 15 seconds, I want to draw your attention to the last page, there's so many pages here, which is big problems with the sidewalks on Bond Mill Road that we encourage people to walk, children to walk, but they're stumbling, they're falling down because of the uneven surfaces. So thank you very much for considering keeping up our county like we'd like it to be kept up.
Thank you. We do not have your address, so if we can make sure we get your address.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And I'll make sure that
I signed up, but
transportation.
somehow that got screwed up.
Don't worry, we're going to get your address and take care of it. Is
Who do I give it to?
transportation here? Who's here from Transportation Department? That's all right. We'll make sure it goes to Barry Stanton. He can make sure it gets back to Daryl Mobley. Thank you. And we'll make sure, if Barry, if you can make sure. Thank you.
Lisa Bolden.
long walk when you've got short legs. Good evening. My name is Lisa Bolden, and thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. I am a potentially new resident and corporate partner in Prince George's County as my company, the Lab Group, along with Mission First Housing, is in the process of developing a 122-unit, luxury yet affordable, senior housing community in Suitland, Maryland. If we are successful with our efforts for gap financing, and our application currently is being reviewed by your Department of Housing and Community Development, and let me just give applause to everybody at the Housing and Community Development because they have been utmost professionals in every way and are working with us very diligently. But if we are successful, and we believe we will be breaking ground this coming, hopefully fall, before all of the snow comes. And in doing so, we will be eliminating what now is a blighted infill area right off of Branch Avenue or St. Barnabas Road near the Silver Hill intersection. And as importantly, we are going to be a catalyst for economic development as we believe quality housing, the development of quality housing absolutely spurs economic development. And in this case, in a community that we believe, just looking at the history, has been ignored. And we know that you are committed to all efforts to enhance the Suitland community, and I'm here today to request that you continue that commitment with funds in the Housing and Community Development budget as well as the Economic Development budget, as those are things that we need for our development and the community needs. We can't be as successful as a development unless the entire community is successful. And anything we can do to assist you in your efforts and fulfilling on your commitment, we are available. Thank you.
Odalis de la Cruz Valadez.
Good evening. My name is Odalis de la Cruz, and I'm a student here at Laurel High School. I come here to represent First Generation. Thank you. I come here to represent First Generation. I remember the day where I met Ren Skidmore, an employee of First Generation. It was here at a college fair at my school. I didn't even know I was eligible for First Generation until I talked to her and she explained to me and took the time to explain to me the process and program. She was very open in letting people into the program, which made me feel welcome. She helps me a lot with the college process. She helped me and my mother fill out the FAFSA. She also helped me send my SAT scores to colleges that I have applied to. I would like to major in criminal justice in college. My #1 school is Stevenson University. Ren and the rest of the people from First Generation have pushed me to attend college. Ren and specifically has taken the time to talk to me about which is the best school that fits me best, not only socially but financially. She had helped me become confident and to not be afraid to call the schools and ask them about the status of my application. They have taught me to be confident myself, and most of all, they have pushed me to believe that I can attend college no matter what my financial situation is. I thank them for everything they have done for me and for the rest of the students who are in the First Generation program. Thank you and have a great day.
Very good.
Robert Strupp. Robert Strupp. Connie Carter. Connie Carter. Jim Ziepolt.
Hi, I'm Jim Ziepolt, born and raised in Prince George's County and worked as a public servant for 30 years for the county. Retiring in 1995. When I was a child during the late 40s and early 50s, when I would observe my sister Elsie, who's with us tonight. She would often be by herself, talking to herself, usually holding a piece of paper and waving it. And if you tried to talk to her, you would get hardly any eye contact. Well, there was not any educational opportunities for people like Elsie back then. But thankfully, back in around 1952, thanks to 8 to 10 families and the leadership of Prince George's County, the ARC, well, it was known as the Prince George's County Association for Retarded Children, was founded. And it later became known as the ARC, and Prince George's County was a real leader because there was probably only 2 ahead of it, Minneapolis and I think the U.S. National ARC. So back then, there were a lot of spin-offs that came, and one of them was Melwood, which I'm sure you're familiar with, and VSI, which later became New Horizons in Kalma, who has group homes, and many others. Those groups have done wonderful things and have lifted some of the burden off of the families. They have a lifetime burden when they have a special needs person in their family. And anyway, as you probably know, a lot of the workers that work for these providers are paid workers, and now the providers have to come up with they've raised the minimum wage, which is a good thing. However, the 4% that was money coming from DDA, the state, been cut to 2%, and it really puts these providers, and I'm with one. I'm on the board for New Horizons. It really puts us between a rock and a hard place as far as trying to continue these services and have day programs and training and working with employers. And I forgot to mention Elsie now, my sister, has worked 29 plus years for the city of Bowie, thanks to New Horizons, and 29 years, and that's 3 days a week, and the other 2 days she earns a little bit of money in the recycle program with New Horizons. So it's a wonderful program. All these nonprofits are doing a super job, and I just, your mission statement, the county's been a leader. Your mission statement says that that you are a nationally recognized jurisdictional leader in the Washington metropolitan region, and I ask you, are you going to continue that for the developmentally disabled? And one more thing, my computer's got malware, and I'm going to hand you this plus what I forgot to mention. And it'll probably be 2 or 3 days before I get that fixed, but I'll give it to you in writing. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take that. And Elsie, thank you for being here. Great job. You're gonna say something to us? All right, come on and say something to us. Barry, can you help out?
My name is Elsie C. Pope. I live in a group home in Bowen Heights, and I have 2 other roommates. And one is Diane, and that one's Lonnie. And I'm the oldest one. I'll be 68 in March of 22nd. And I've been, like my brother said, I do have 2 jobs. And all the seniors like me, and they don't want me to leave, but I raised up 29 years and 30 years. And I wish everybody would think of me. And come to the Bowie Seniors. It's in Bowie Senior Center.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Elsie.
Sherry Barbin Downing. Sherry Barbin Downing. Joe Young Show.
Good evening, County Executive Baker and staff and everyone in this room. My name is Ji-young Cho. I'm the Executive Director of Korean Community Service Center of Greater Washington. As you may know, our Prince George's County office is located in Riverdale. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you this evening about our organization. Your support is critically necessary to enable KCSC to operate our services and provide assistance to Koreans and other Asian Americans residing in Prince George's County. After many years of generous support, this past year, KCSC was not recommended for FY 2015 CDBG funding. Today, I would like to urge you to fund KCSC again for the fiscal year 2016 budget. Since KCSC founding in 1974, our Prince George's County office has been assisting low-income community residents, including seniors, families, and individuals. Our mission is to help our clients become healthy, contributing members of the United States. We provide comprehensive, culturally and linguistically sensitive social services, education programs, health promotion programs, mental health counseling, and interpretation services. Since the first open enrollment for Obamacare in year 2013, KCSC has been serving as a partner agency of Prince George's County for the Maryland Health Connection and is the only Asian organization helping uninsured Korean and Mandarin-speaking residents enroll in the new health insurance options. KCSC helps clients navigate through complex healthcare and social service systems, which can be daunting to those with language barriers. Lacking understanding of U.S. policies and systems, many are confused and have no idea how to access the services for which they are eligible. Without our continuous help, they are most likely to give up and risk falling through the cracks. In FY 2015, KCSC provided more than 19,000 units of services to 15,000 community members living in the DC area, including enrolling more than 4,000 individuals in the healthcare insurance programs offered through the Affordable Care Act. In Prince George's County alone, we served nearly 2,700 residents. More than 70% of clients come to our office through word of mouth from friends and their families members. Your support makes it possible, and ongoing support allows us to maintain a seamless array of services to make a better and healthier community. Again, I would like to urge you to fund our social services through the Prince George's County CDBG so that we can continue serving our community with the same consistency and level of care that we have provided in previous years. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ray Smith. Ray Smith. Peter Holden.
Good evening. I'm back again, County Executive. And wrestling with the microphone, I feel like Aerosmith here. My name is Peter Holden. I'm Executive Director of New Horizons Supported Services in Upper Marlboro. And my point tonight I'd like to make is about people. I have the pleasure of working with Elsie Zebolt and Jim and a lot of volunteers and a lot of folks. And there's some facts and numbers that I think need to go on the record. If it's not known to this group, to this room, in Prince George's County, the number of people that are living below the poverty level is 9.4%, according to the Maryland Park and Planning Commission. It's about equal to the percentage of people with disabilities living in Prince George's County. It's a pretty significant number. If we're talking about people, they're the citizens of this county that are the most needy, the most in need, and the most capable of amazing progress. We're working with a lot of folks, along with the Provider Council, over 2,500 staff people that work with us. We bring over $70 million a year into this county with payroll. with contracts, with business. We bring more, into this organization, into this county, and 70% of our people that we support live in Prince George's County, the staff, the individuals themselves. Some facts that are important, I believe, that we're getting cut by 3.75% by the state of Maryland. The people that are most vulnerable are the people that are the lowest end of the income spectrum, which is the 9.4% that I mentioned. We're part of the council. We're part of a group of people that are working hard to be a community service. We believe that we're a vital part of Prince George's County, as much as hospitals, as schools, and community facilities. And yet Prince George's County has yet to include any supplemental allocation to our organizations, to nonprofits that serve people with disabilities. We can't compete with the two neighboring counties. In Arundel County and Montgomery County both supplement their nonprofits to help them survive. County Executive, we're not surviving. You heard about deficits earlier from my colleague Nancy. Our organization, just for the first 2 months of this year, is looking at about a $45,000 deficit. We know your deficit is staggering, and you'll figure it out, I know that. But we're looking for consideration of a supplemental allocation to help those folks like Elsie, like the other 9% of our population in this county. They need support from this county. I want to ask one final question, but before that I want to say that amazing things are happening in this county. We met today with 4 executives from the MGM Grand moving into National Harbor to create jobs and employment opportunities. They asked me what the biggest problem was. I said staff leaving to go to work at Montgomery County and Anne Arundel County because we can't compete and we can't meet the minimum wage requirements. So we ask for your help, and I'd like to leave you with a question. And my question would be, will you help the DD agencies in the coming year and the coming budget? Will you help us help Elsie and her friends and her colleagues? Please. Thank you.
Marcia Raymond.
Good evening. My name is Marcia Raymond. I'm the Director of Social Justice and the Parish Social Worker at St. Mary of the Mills Church here in Laurel. And I'm here to talk about, to encourage you to allocate the $50,000 in the fiscal year 2016 budget for the general operation expenses of the Laurel Winter Shelter. As stated by Leah Paley from LARS, who works closely with all of us who have been running this shelter for over 20 years, St. Mary's, we have been part of this shelter program since the beginning. In recent years, it's become increasingly clear that a centralized agency needs to provide oversight and supportive services to the churches, and various congregations, including ours, have been required by to hire staff. We've been required by the Archdiocese of Washington to hire professional staff and off-duty police officers during our week. St. Mary's annually spends over $8,000 to run the shelter during our week at Christmas. In order to ensure the continued successes of the Laurel Winter Shelter funding from Prince George's County, it's necessary that that you would consider funding this. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Thank you.
Susan Brown.
Good evening, Executive Baker, staff, and fellow citizens. I suggest that the budgetary allotment for Animal Management Division, AMD, should be scrutinized, investigated, and amended for the fiscal year 2016. I suggest cutting the salary of the administrator of AMD, Rodney Taylor, who routinely violates the law to include the PG County statute, Maryland state laws and regulations, and the U.S. Constitution. Better yet, I suggest further to just replace the current administrator with somebody outside of the Animal Management Division who is knowledgeable about those laws and regulations and is on board with the progress that has been made in surrounding counties and states to saving animals' lives by the attitudes and programs of the no-kill movement. Also, somebody who doesn't command a six-figure digit income. Rodney Taylor intentionally does not provide training to his employees within the scope of the laws written. He tells his employees to fabricate laws without citing proper reference. If any reference at all, they harass residents for engaging in legal activities and continuing to write bogus citations and fines, i.e., if you feed a feral cat, you own it. Even after Judge Krauser ruled it not illegal to feed, he still accuses Good Samaritans of animal cruelty, but refuses to respond and prosecute real cases. Most recent, I called 911 on an animal cruelty case, but I was informed by the police they do not respond to those calls, the 911 operator. So she forwarded the call to AMD, but apparently there's not a dedicated line for emergency calls, nor does the person answering the calls have the skill set for handling such. I repeatedly had to state the address, then repeatedly had to spell the street, and asked to spell Marlton and Upper Marlboro. The temperature that day was in the single digits, and the wind chill factor was below 0. I was also informed that people can do what they want to do in the confines of their fenced-in yard. Needless to say, they didn't come, so I started calling rescue groups in and around the county for assistance. Most of them commented on how PG County is backwards thinking. So to tie this problem to the budget, I suggest that the budgetary allotment for AMD is scrutinized, and when it comes to the administrator, how they misrepresent the law and commit violations of the law. Many of our neighbors and communities are turning away from the county animal control program because they see the waste, fraud, and abuse going on. Thank you very much. Yes, I would.
We'll make sure that we get a written response back to you. Thank you.
Brian Morris. Brian Morris. Hillary Lindeman. Hillary Lindeman. Wilbert Nicholson.
Good evening,
Before you speak, Mr. Lund, for the record, if anybody wanted to submit their written testimony, I know in case you didn't get a chance to go through it, we will take that up here. Or Christopher, could you stand up? There's young Christopher right there with a nice bow tie. He'd be glad to take it. Thank you. Please.
Good evening, Mr. Baker and associates. I'd like to show you a picture.
You can bring.
My name is Wilbert Nicholson. I've been in Prince George's County all my life, over 60 years. I joined the Law Boys and Girls Club in 1964. Probably one of the oldest members that's around here now. But I also run Cherry Lane Boxing and Youth Fitness, and I've established outstanding program. That one picture I brought up there is I was a coach for the future Olympic team in 2009 at Olympic Square out in Colorado. And from one of those guys that's on that picture, he's 18 and won as a professional fighter now. My son was in the 2005 Community Guide for Prince George's County. He's now a professional fighter. He's 11 and 1 with 11 knockouts now. And I've got a kid that was in the juvenile system. I've had him in my programs since he was 13. He's 19 years old now. He made honor roll in high school, graduated, went on to he's in college now. and he was picked to go to Ireland to represent the United States this year. So, you know, my program has been doing outstanding things, and Ms. Lehman, former Councilman Denoga, have all supported my program wholeheartedly. But I haven't been able to retrieve any kind of funding from the county executive side for my program. I just jumped on board with, as a board member of the Law Boys and Girls Club, trying to change the direction of the club because they've taken a lot of hits here lately. At this moment, we're going through a thing with no heat in the old Phelps Center, and we're trying to find somebody to reach out to us. I had a friend of mine that came in and rewired it, the boiler at no cost. You know, these are the type of things we're trying to do to keep this place going. And as a reminder, that picture there was me in 1964, 10 years old. So, you know, this is an institution. I went through the program, my kids came up through the program, and my grandkids are in the program now. And I hate to see it go astray. So if we can, if we're able to retrieve any kind of funding, it would be gratefully appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan Baker. Ryan Baker. Julio Morolo.
Good evening, how are you? My name is Julio Murillo. I'm actually the policy analyst for Casa de Maryland. Casa de Maryland is Maryland's largest nonprofit serving the immigrant community. We serve over 65,000 members, I'm sorry. We envision a future with a diverse and thriving communities living free from discrimination and fear, working together with mutual respect to achieve full human rights for all. At the core of our vision are critical issues: education, jobs, housing, local independent businesses, public safety, transportation, health and human services. CASA has 2 offices in Prince George's County, including our headquarters. We are committed to Prince George's County, and we look forward to continuing to work with the county as we move forward together. Tonight, I will highlight 3 issues that are critical to the county's economic well-being. First, the Purple Line. Second, affordable housing. And third, local independent businesses. First, CASA strongly supports the Purple Line. It will bring countless of opportunities to our neighborhoods. In addition, we recognize the county's leadership and commitment to the Purple Line Community Compact, a written document that encompasses a vision, principles, and strategies to address social and economic equities. CASA spearheads the Fair Development Coalition, a grassroots coalition of 40 partners and supporters that fundamentally promote equitable development around major infrastructure projects. We ask the county to continue voicing its support for the Purple Line and the Community Compact. Second, quality affordable housing must be a priority for the county. And let me be clear, I mean quality affordable housing at all socioeconomic levels. Prince George's County has alarming housing indicators, and they are evident in places such as Langley Park. In Prince George's County, 14.1% of the housing units were built between 1950 and 1959. In Langley Park, that number goes to 41%. Consequently, this puts residents in a high risk of lead poisoning hazards. Moreover, 36.8% of households in the county pay more than 35% of their income on housing. That number increases to 53.7% in Langley Park households. Safe and financially sustainable homes are building blocks of a robust workforce and a prosperous economy. However, high costs, deteriorating housing conditions, and looming evictions in Langley Park forces county families to housing instability. Third, local independent businesses. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to highlight lastly for the last 30 seconds. We respectfully recommend the county please begin funding the Housing Trust Fund, explore opportunities to strengthen the code enforcement, establish a landlord-tenant office to help tenants file complaints against owners and managers. And lastly, in conclusion, CASA thanks you and we look forward to working with you on these issues.
Joe Fisher.
Good evening. Thanks. We're glad to have you out here again so we can express our support for continued funding for First Generation College Bound. This, as you've heard from one of our students already, how we've been providing ongoing support, which we've done over the past 25 years, which the program started right here in Laurel. During this 2014 academic year, we'll be serving almost 500 students with 1 elementary school, 3 middle schools, and 13 high schools across the county. More than 550 students that we have served over the years are in college at this time. And it's important to note that we are providing, we're keeping track of them with volunteers. We're still raising the money to help develop, to get human support for the college retention program. Our high school seniors this year will be taking also another very important, exciting trip back to the U.S. Supreme Court in March. This past summer, it is important that you know that the county funds helped us to recognize 168 students who had positive outcomes, receiving $2.5 million in financial aid to attend college. This was not money that was offered. This was money actually used for them to walk in the door. We also recognized 44 students who received an associate's degree or bachelor's degree, and 3 students who received a graduate's degree this past year. Just recently, we got a phone call from a 1992 Laurel graduate that we was just informed, Un Oh, just got his doctorate degree in physics from the University of Virginia. First Generation College Bound, and also First Generation College Bound has appreciated this financial support from Prince George's County because the ongoing this support has been critical. It has helped us to leverage funds from several local foundations and institutions for stability. It is important that you know Delegate Alonzo Washington this year will be introducing the College Access and Outreach Act of 2015. This is critical due to the Maryland Higher Education Maryland Higher Education Commission needs help in terms of reaching its college-bound students on ground zero. For example, the student you heard from today. This initiative will require us to have matching funds. That's why it is critical for us to have continued funding from the county so that we can match those funds if this bill is approved. So we really want to thank the county for its support in the past. We have outstanding things going on in Prince George's County, even though we have our challenges. But let me tell you, we have students that are doing great things. Thank you.
Wilbur Nicholson.
Yeah, I just spoke.
I must have you on here twice, sorry. Adrian Russell.
Good evening, Mr. Baker. My name is Adrian Russo. I am the new president of the Laurel Boys and Girls Club. I'd like to piggyback on what Mr. Nicholson said about the program and what we're trying to do up there. We are a new established board, and we are tackling all the situations and everything that's going on with these kids in this community throughout the county. We offer services and we support not just the Prince George's County Laurel, but Howard County, Montgomery County, and Anne Arundel. And due to that, sometimes we take hits from time to time. I'd like to thank Mr. Moe, who's the city mayor, for supporting us and everything that the city tries to do, because we are in partnership in making a difference in this community. I'm asking that you will continue to support us and let us help you help us. We offer everything that a kid needs. We turn no kids behind or leave them behind, but we are facing difficult times like everybody has been lately. And we've just had to relieve our one employee from services, and he actually works for the county with the court workers program that also helps us do the upkeep and maintenance on the building. But due to the fact that we cannot any longer pay his salary for all the funds that we've lost in this past year during this hard time, I ask that you guys consider him and look to see if there's anything you can do so that we can continue to let him service you in that program and help us financially take care of him. Last of all, I ask that you all will consider coming out again. I walked with you a couple of years ago, and I appreciate you taking the time to come out and see for yourself what we do, and give us the opportunity to give these kids a chance so that they can be with Mr. Fisher and some of these other groups that get them on. I know I only have 30 seconds. We've just lost 2 kids that aged out of the program. Probably read about them a couple of weeks ago. One was shot in the back of the head a few times in broad daylight. A second one was hit by a car on 95. So I'm just asking if the doors close on this club, the aged out kids will never get to that point because they're being put out before even the aged out time. So please give us a chance to help us, and we're not asking for a handout, just a hand. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Donna Hobbs.
Good evening. I'm Donna Hobbs. I am a volunteer for to assist with people with disabilities. I have volunteered in the county probably for 20 years now. I am now president of the board of directors for New Horizons Supported Services. One of the reasons that I'm here tonight is to ask for your help in the minimum wage. I've had 2 or 3 employees come to me and say how great it is that Mr. Baker has raised the minimum wage. It's going to be embarrassing if I have to tell them that, oh, I'm sorry, but we can't do that. They say the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Well, we've been pretty squeaky at both of these open forums that you've had, and we really appreciate you having them. A lot of our employees would be here tonight, except that the majority of them have to work either 2 or 3 jobs, or they are now working, or they're home with their children because they cannot afford a care provider. Anyone that has done any caring for a parent or a sibling or a friend know the kind of work that these people do. We are so proud of our employees, and it would be so nice to be able to give them the increase that you have so generously given to the county, and hope you'll be able to find the funds to help support it to New Horizons and the rest of the nonprofits in Prince George's County. Thank you, and look forward to seeing you at Cheverly.
Thank you.
Jenny Walls.
Hello, I'm Jenny Wall. I am a longtime Laurel resident. I'm a member at St. Philip's Episcopal Church. And in 1991, I and a small group of other people with the congregations in the Laurel area put together a shelter called Winter Haven, which is the precursor to the Laurel Winter Shelter that we've discussed already tonight. In 1991, we generally housed between 15 and 20 single men on any given night, and the congregations, an interfaith coalition, stepped up and filled a niche that was missing at this end of the county. Over the years, we've stepped up time and time again. I oversaw Winter Haven for 20 years and stepped back just a couple of years ago. But over the years, we've gone from one set of problems to an ever-expanding and ever-complex group of people that we're working with. We are seeing more young people. We have many people with mental health difficulties. We have many people with alcohol and drug problems. We have people who are employed in the area but have no way to access transportation from other areas of the county to get back to their job. So the north end of the county, the congregations have been carrying this since '91, and I think it's time for us to discuss the county stepping in and helping with that. The oversight of the congregations is wonderful, and we have done well as an all-volunteer organization, but the continuity for our guests is imperative. The continuity from congregation to congregation when you move every week will let people take that opportunity, that time under a roof, and move forward. We have seen amazing things over the years. The people that I least expected to get sober were the ones who got sober. The people who I saw face immense challenges with the relationships they built in the congregations, with the time that they had over the winter, they made use of that time wisely. Not everyone does, but that's true in all facets of our life. In the last 30 seconds, I just want to make one point. This is not $50,000 that just goes out and doesn't come back. There is the human capital, and there is also the basic fact that otherwise these people will often be in our jail and prison system for various small types of crimes. So the money that we're putting out for policing, for jails, for all of that will offset some of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Monique Smith.
Good evening, and thank you for taking the time to come out this evening. My name is Monica Smith, and I just had a couple of questions, and hopefully you can answer them. Since increasing casinos in Maryland, how much have the schools received? I was reviewing a report from the Maryland Public Policy, and I noticed that in the report in 2011, $350 million was removed from the Educational Trust Fund. My second question is, in regards to the new governor proposal, why is Prince George's County, Montgomery County, and Baltimore City proposally taking more cuts in education than spreading among the state? And last, when residents voted for more casinos in the county, it was, in regards to the ads, it was a misleading perception that the money was going to be more to fund the schools, but I also found that only 24% actually goes to the educational fund, and the governor could always remove those funds. Thank you.
Josephine Spizo. Josephine Spizo.
Hi, my name is Josephine Spezio. I didn't want to not show, but I am with the West Laurel Civic Association, and I am concerned about the roads in Prince George's County. Thank you for taking the time to listen. But I didn't want to just say I didn't realize that Barbara was going to do such a wonderful job, so I had to show.
Thank you, and you've done a wonderful job also.
Our last speaker of the night is Tom Denoga.
Good evening, County Executive Baker. I'm Tom Denoga, President of the Friends of the Laurel Library, speaking on behalf of the Friends. And generally, we want to echo the comments that Ken Bryson, President of the Friends of Prince George's County Libraries, made 2 weeks ago. We're very concerned about the potential impact of the projected county budget shortfall on the Prince George's County Municipal Library System. The library system budget has been flat for a couple of years, and many libraries still do not have returned to Sunday hours, including the Laurel branch. Reduction or even a flat budget will have serious effects on the system, and therefore the citizens of the county that rely heavily on their community libraries. The impact of such a situation will be a negative effect on the quality of life in the county, and as you know, the library budget is part of the education category of the budget. It is no less part of the educational infrastructure than the school system or the community college. I'll reiterate what I said to you 2 years ago tonight when we were here in the same location. As someone who considers himself the education county executive, you cannot reduce county contributions to the library system and expect the quality of life of the county to improve. In such a scenario, good to great is good to gone. Finally, for the Friends of the Laurel Library, there's been an interminable wait for a new library, well over a decade. It goes back to the Curry administration or earlier. This time last year, the old facility was about to be closed, and a temporary facility opened to allow for construction of the new library. The temporary site is almost a year old and appears to be getting a lot older. No construction has commenced on the site of the new library, and many patrons are getting anxious. We trust that you will keep the funds in the 2016 capital budget. We would request that Central Services provide the Laurel Friends with an update on the status as soon as possible so that we may address the many inquiries that we receive. In my couple seconds left, I'll note I'm Vice President of West Laurel Civic Association, switch hats real quick. The road situation is not just a West Laurel issue. When you have $10 million in the budget for 9 council districts, it's $1.1 million per district. We're competing with Beltsville, Calverton, Montpelier, South Laurel, Adelphi, and that same competition goes across the entire county. You can do 2 to 3 modest road repairs per council district per year. Mr. Hijazi, I think, did an analysis for you 2-3 years ago, and we're several $100 million behind in road repairs. $10 million a year is just not going to make a dent in that. So it's tough, but I know in the mid-2000s we were able to get the budget number up to about $18 to $20 million a year for several years. So strongly encourage you to do that for all the county citizens. Thank you.
All right, how much did you get it up?
I think it was 18 to 20 million.
18 to 20 million?
Under
How
Jack
much did you
Johnson.
get it?
Under Jack Johnson.
Under the Johnson administration. Thomas, did you get that? Thank you.
He knows. He was there.
Well, thank you. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Give yourselves a round of applause. Great job. I will say in advance, so I'm apologize in advance, that like many of you, I am a caregiver and I am late for my shift. So if I run out, that is the reason. Thank you.